Okay, so the next thing that we need to set up now is going to be our lamp receptacles. So go ahead and take both of them out of the bag and get your box of light bulbs. And we have some extras in here because you might burn out your lights as you go, so make sure to keep the whatever you don't use safe somewhere so that you can find it later. You do have 4 light bulbs in here, but we only need 2 for the moment because we can only hook up 2. Now, every time we use a light bulb, there are 2 places the light bulbs have to connect to electricity. They have to connect on the bottom. This is a place where they touch right there. It's metal. And light bulbs also have to have something touching with its electric on the side. And if you look inside your holders here, you can see that. I'm going to use one of these wires to point. You can see way down here at the bottom. Light, good enough. There we go. See it reflecting. This is where it's going to touch on one side, and it hooks up to this screw so the electrons will be able to flow through there. And to touch the side of the light bulb, you can kind of see it in there, you'll see another piece running up the side here that connects to that piece of metal on that side. Now to get these out, you might need a little screwdriver. I'm noticing they are really small, so that's probably something that you're going to want to grab if possible. If you don't have one available, you might be able to use your fingernail or something else that will fit in that slot, like maybe a butter knife. Make sure it's not a sharp knife, but a dull butter knife might work. So let's go ahead and screw these in, and then they'll be ready, and then I will show you how to hook the wires up with using those screws. And these are a little tight at first, so you might need to really kind of play with them to get them in. And if you can't get one set in, feel free to try another. My first one went in really easily, so I'm going to try it on the one that's being a little difficult. See if that's the light bulb or if that is the holder. Okay, it seems like it's just that light bulb. Make sure you screw them in all the way, and if one of the light bulbs isn't being cooperative, like my first one wasn't, feel free to try another one. It looks like those 2 are both good. So we're almost ready. What we need to do now is we want to loosen these up just enough that we can get wire underneath them and wrap it on there. So I'll show you how to do that here in the next little section. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do in order to make these work is we need to make sure that the metal on the end of our wire here, that this can fit around the bases of these screws and stay put pretty solidly. I'm noticing on this one that I can't, as much as I try to poke it in here, it's not going. So I'm going to need to loosen this screw a little bit. Anything, a screwdriver, or you can try anything you have that might be strong, a fingernail, maybe side of a pair of scissors, anything might be good to do that. And these screws are really tight, so they might take a little work to get them loose. And you don't need them all the way up, we just need them up enough. There, if you can see that. I just unscrewed it, it's raised up enough now. Probably if I try to stick the wire under there, the screwdriver's trying to roll away here. If I try, yeah, now I can get that under there. I just want to be able to have that wire fit under the screws. So I'm going to do that to make sure all of the screws here are loose enough that I can get in. And you can also, I noticed on mine, the wire, the metal piece here, the little piece of contact metal that goes inside was a little high. You can also bend those down easily just by pushing down on them with your fingernail. And if you do those 2 things, you should have enough room to hook up your wires. So again, I'm just going to go through here, and I'm not taking them all the way out. I'm just unscrewing them enough that my wire will fit underneath of them. Isn't that much at all. There we go. Now that those are raised up, I think we're ready to go. All of our materials are ready now, so we're going to take our light bulbs here, our wires, and our batteries, and I'm going to show you how to hook them up. Now, I'm not going to go over every type of circuit that we're going to make in class. You can do all of our experiments so that we're doing with an interactive in class. You can replicate these at home, and we'll be learning about series circuits, parallel, open and closed circuits. You can also, we have some different materials that were in here to make electromagnets. We won't be doing that, but you can use this to experiment with things like what materials are conductive and which materials are not. So those will be helpful. So to hook this up, let's take a look at what this is going to take. So the first thing that we want to know when you do this is we need a stream of electrons going all the way through. So to do our hookups, we can either hook our wire directly to the lamps, or we can hook our wire to other wires. And to do that, if we want to hook our two wires together, just twist them. They just need to touch. So I just twist them around. Let's get that a little clearer for where you can see that. I just wrapped it around so it's like just twisted, and they're pretty secure. You can see they're not falling off. So you can either hook those to that, or you can hook your batteries directly to the light bulbs. The battery wires are a little more fragile, so I'd rather not handle them a whole lot. So that's why I'm choosing to hook them to the wires, because that way I don't have to move them a lot. Okay, so I twisted one on both sides. So to make a circuit, what we have to do then is we need to connect our light bulb. And it doesn't matter which wire goes where. In fact, all we have to do is even touch the screws because they're metal, but we want them to stay on. So to make them stay on, the way you do this is just tuck the metal that you exposed earlier under the screw. You can bend it a little to make it stay put, like make a little U shape. Whatever works best for you to get it to stay put. Does not want to stay still while I do that. So you can just wrap it around. I just made a U shape here. You can see that. And you can see it staying put. As long as the metal is touching the metal, we should be good. I'm going to do that over here as well. And if you're worried about the battery doing it or getting blinded by that, just pop out a battery as you work, and we'll put the battery back in once I have my circuit set up. So I'm just going to do that over here, and if you can get that tight on there, they'll stay a little better, because my other side just wants to pop off a lot. Probably made that screw a little higher up when I was setting up, but there we go. Okay, so there's that. And you can see I have the battery back here, like that, so you can see all parts. There we go. And I'm just going to pop the battery back in. Again, negative side goes where the spring is, so on the negative side's the flat side. That's where the electrons come out. And pop that in, and you will see we have a lit up circuit. So we're going to learn how to wire these two bulbs together. You can try that. And we're also going to learn different ways to wire these two bulbs together. And you can replicate all of these in class using these materials. They are yours to play around with and enjoy. And as I mentioned, there are other materials also. If you are interested in making electromagnets, there are materials in here to do that. We have screws and copper coil. Feel free to look up electromagnets online and you'll get some directions for how to do that. So thanks for sitting in for this little lesson on using your science kit from OHVA and K12. And I hope that you enjoy this unit on electricity.